My dear child, before you take your next breath, I want you to know something that no amount of noise in this world can ever drown out. I love you. Not the polished version of you. Not the version that has everything figured out. Not the one who smiles perfectly and says the right things at the right moments. I love the real you. The tired you. The confused you. The one who sometimes lies awake at 3 a.m. wondering if any of this is actually going somewhere. That is the one I am speaking to right now. That is the one I have been waiting to reach. And yes, I have been waiting. I have been patient in a way that the world rarely is with you, because the world gives you deadlines and conditions and fine print. But I give you something different. I give you a love that does not expire, a love that did not start when you were at your best, and will not stop when you are at your worst. I have been here the entire time, every single chapter of your story, every page you wish you could tear out, every paragraph you are proud of, every sentence you left unfinished because you did not know how to continue. I was there for all of it, and I am here right now. But I need you to hear me clearly today, because what I am about to say matters more than anything else you will hear this week. Maybe more than anything you have heard in a very long time. I am not sending you a casual message. This is not something I decided to drop into your life as an afterthought. This is a moment I arranged, a moment I set aside specifically for you, a moment where heaven leaned low and said, "Now, speak to that child now, before any more time passes, before the noise gets louder, before another season slips by without them truly hearing what I have been trying to tell them." So here I am, speaking to you through this moment, through this stillness you somehow found in the middle of your day, through the quiet that settled just long enough for these words to reach you. Do not take this lightly. Do not scroll past it. Do not let the busy part of your brain convince you that you will come back to this later, because sometimes later never comes. And I do not want to lose this moment with you. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The delays in your life were not accidents. The seasons where everything felt stuck, where the door you knocked on refused to open, where the prayer you prayed seemed to dissolve into silence before it even reached the ceiling, those were not signs that I forgot you. Those were not proof that you did not matter. Every single one of those moments was me, working in ways you simply could not see from where you were standing. I was in the waiting room with you. I was in the quiet. I was in the in-between. And I was doing something in those spaces that could not have been done any other way. You see, the things worth building take time, not because time is the point, but because depth requires it. Strength requires it. The kind of life I have in mind for you is not a shallow one. It is not a fragile one that looks good on the surface, but cracks under the first bit of real pressure. I am building something in you and around you that is meant to last. Something that will not fall apart the moment life gets hard, and that kind of building cannot be rushed. It cannot be microwaved. It requires layers. It requires patience. It requires exactly the kind of seasons you have been walking through. But here is what I really want you to understand. I never left you alone in those seasons. Not for one single moment. When you sat with that heaviness in your chest and could not explain it to anyone, I was there. When you drove home in silence because you were too worn out to even turn on the radio, I was in the car with you. When you stood in front of the mirror and the person looking back at you felt like a stranger, I was standing right beside you, whispering something your heart could just barely hear. I was saying, you are not lost. You are mine, and I know exactly where you are. You called some of those moments bad luck. You called some of them failure. You called some of them punishment. You wondered if the universe was somehow working against you, if you had done something wrong, if you were somehow less deserving than the people around you, whose lives seem to be moving forward so effortlessly. I want to gently, lovingly correct that thinking today, because none of it was what you thought it was. The closed doors were not rejections. They were redirections. The lost opportunities were not losses. They were clearings. I was removing things from your path that looked like blessings from the outside, but would have become burdens on the inside. I was protecting you from things you did not even know were dangerous. Think about the relationship that fell apart. Think about the path that did not work out. Think about the plan that collapsed no matter how hard you worked to hold it together. At the time, it felt like the ground disappearing beneath your feet. But now, with even just a little distance, can you start to see it differently? Can you begin to recognize that if those things had stayed, you would not be the person you are right now? You would not have the depth you carry. You would not have the compassion you have developed. You would not have grown the inner strength that you sometimes forget you have. Every single thing that felt like a loss was actually me reshaping your story so that it could become something beautiful. I know that is hard to believe when you are in the middle of it. I know that when the pain is fresh and the disappointment is heavy, the last thing you want to hear is that this is working out for your good. I understand that. I do not dismiss the reality of your pain. I do not wave it away with easy words. Your tears were real. Your grief was real. The exhaustion you carried was real, and I took every bit of it seriously. But I also need you to know that there was never a moment when your story was out of my hands. Never. Not once. And now, right now in this very moment, I need you to hear something even more important. A shift is happening. Something is turning. The season you have been walking through, the one that felt heavy and long and uncertain, it is not your permanent address. You were never meant to live there forever. You were passing through, and the passing through is nearly over. What is coming next is not more of the same. What is coming next is different, better, fuller, more aligned with the reason I created you in the first place. If you have been watching this channel for a while, and these words have been speaking to your heart, I want to pause right here and ask you to do something simple. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Click that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that these messages keep finding you. Because these are not just videos. These are conversations. These are moments where something higher reaches into your ordinary day and reminds you of who you are and whose you are. Do not miss the next one. Subscribe right now and then keep listening, because what comes next in this message is something your heart really needs to hear. Now, let me talk to you about something that I know you carry quietly. You carry a version of yourself that you are not entirely proud of. A version that made choices you regret. A version that said things you wish you could take back. A version that chose the easy path when you knew deep down the right path was harder. A version that let fear make decisions that love should have made. You have not forgotten that version. In fact, some days it feels like that version is the loudest one in the room. Like the mistakes are sitting at the front of the class with their hand up, demanding to define you. I want to say something to that part of you today. I am not keeping a record. I am not standing at a distance with a clipboard, marking down every time you fell short. I am not holding the past over your head as leverage. I am not waiting for you to perform perfectly before I decide you are worthy of goodness. That is not how I work. That is not who I am. The version of me that walks away when you stumble, that demands payment for grace, that requires perfection before offering love, that version does not exist. That is a story someone told you. A story built from fear and misunderstanding. And it is time to let that story go. What I am asking you to do right now is simply to come back. Come back to the truth of who you are. Come back to the relationship between us that was always meant to be the foundation of everything else in your life. Not with shame dragging your feet. Not with your head low like you have to earn your way back in. Just come back the way a tired child comes back home after a long day, not because they deserve a warm meal and a soft place to rest, but because home is home and home is where they belong. You belong here. You always have. And every road that seemed to lead you away from me, every season where you felt like the distance between us had grown too wide to cross, none of that changed the fact that you are mine. None of that closed the door I keep open for you. The door is open right now. It has been open, and behind it is not a lecture. It is not a list of conditions. It is a table set with everything you need. Rest for your exhaustion, peace for your anxiety, clarity for your confusion, hope for the places inside you that stopped daring to hope a long time ago. Come as you are. Bring the whole complicated, beautiful, messy, courageous, frightened, wondering version of yourself and just come. That is all that is required. Just come. And while you are coming, let me tell you what I see when I look at you. Because I think you have been looking at yourself through the wrong lens for too long. You have been looking at yourself through the lens of your worst moments, through the lens of your critics, through the lens of the people who handled you carelessly and left marks that you have been carrying ever since. But that is not what I see. When I look at you, I see someone who has been through more than most people around you even know. I see someone who has carried weight in silence because they did not want to burden anyone else. I see someone whose kindness has been taken advantage of more than once, and who chose to stay kind anyway. I see someone who has doubted and questioned and wrestled, but who never fully walked away. I see someone whose resilience is honestly remarkable, not because life was easy, but because it was not easy and you kept going anyway. I see someone whose sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a gift. The fact that you feel things deeply, that the pain of others lands in your heart, that beauty still moves you, even after everything you have been through. That is not something to fix. That is something I placed inside you on purpose. The world needs people who feel. The world is drowning in noise and numbness, and you are someone who can still feel. That matters more than you know. I see someone whose dreams are still alive, even if they have gone quiet, even if you stopped talking about them because life made them feel impractical, even if you trained yourself to want less because wanting more felt too risky. I see those dreams. I know what you imagined your life could look like when you were young enough to imagine freely. And I want to tell you something. What you imagined was not too much. It was not naive. It was a preview. It was me planting something in you that I intended to grow. The fact that it has not grown yet does not mean it is dead. Seeds do not look like trees. Roots do not look like fruit. There is a whole invisible process happening beneath the surface long before anything breaks through the ground. And right now, for you, something is breaking through. Something is rising. Something that has been quietly growing in the dark is about to push through the surface and reach toward the light. And when it does, you are going to look back at every season you almost gave up in, and you are going to understand why I asked you to hold on. Hold on. That is still my word to you today. Not because the holding on is comfortable. I know it is not. Not because I am asking you to pretend that nothing hurts. I would never ask you to be dishonest about your experience. But hold on because the turn is coming. The shift is real. The breakthrough is not a distant fantasy. It is a next chapter. And next chapters do not come to people who have stopped reading. Keep reading. Keep trusting. Keep showing up even on the days when showing up is the hardest thing you do. Because every single time you choose to keep going, Even when everything in you wants to stop, you are writing something into your story that no one else can write. You are proving, not to me because I already know, but to yourself, that you are someone who does not quit, that you are someone who believes even when belief is inconvenient, that you are someone whose faith is not just fair weather confidence, but a deep, quiet, stubborn trust that has survived every storm it has ever faced. And I treasure that. I treasure it more than you know. Now let me speak to the fear that lives just beneath the surface of your life. Because it is there. You are good at hiding it. You have learned how to function around it, how to dress it up as practicality, how to make it sound like wisdom. But fear is fear, and I know it when I see it, and I see it in you. Fear of being disappointed again. Fear of hoping for something and watching it fall apart. Fear of letting someone in and being hurt. Fear of stepping out toward the dream and failing publicly. Fear that the good things you see happening in other people's lives are simply not available for someone like you. I want to speak directly to every one of those fears today, starting with this. You will not be permanently broken by anything that comes. I am not promising you a life without difficulty. I am not telling you that nothing will ever be hard again. What I am telling you is that nothing you face will be strong enough to destroy you. Not when you are walking with me. Not when the hand that holds you is mine. The fire cannot consume what I have placed my mark on. The flood cannot drown what I have decided to keep afloat. You are going to make it through, not just survive it, but actually come through it. Change, yes. Stretched, yes. But alive and standing and more whole than you were before. Fear of disappointment. I hear it. I know what it is like to want something so badly and then watch it unravel. I know how that teaches a heart to protect itself by lowering its expectations. But I want to ask you something. What if the thing that disappointed you was never the thing I had in mind for you in the first place? What if the very disappointment you are still recovering from was actually me clearing the way? What if the plan you were so attached to was blocking your view of something better? Disappointment is painful. Absolutely. But it is not the end. It is a clearing, and something is being planted in the clearing right now. Fear of hoping. This one runs deep in you. I know it does, because hope requires vulnerability. Hope says, I believe something good is possible. And when you have been hurt before, when hope led you to a place that then fell through, the natural response is to protect yourself by not hoping too much, to hedge your bets, to want things quietly so that if they do not come, the loss feels smaller. I understand the logic, but I need to tell you that hope is not a liability. Hope is a lifeline. It is not naive to believe that good things are coming. It is actually a form of trust. And trust is exactly what I am asking for from you today. Fear of being seen and then rejected. This one keeps so many people from living fully. The fear that if someone truly knew you, truly saw all of you, they would decide you were not worth staying for. And because some people in your past did exactly that, the fear has evidence now. It has case files. It pulls out the memories and says, see, this is what happens when you let people in. Stay guarded. Stay safe. But the people who left you were not showing you the truth about your worth. They were showing you the limits of their own capacity. The right people, the ones I am bringing into your life, they will not run from what they find in you. They will stay, and they will be glad they did. Fear of failure, of stepping out towards something that matters to you, and watching it not work out in front of people who are watching. This fear has kept more people from their purpose than almost anything else I can think of. Because failure is uncomfortable, and public failure is humiliating, or at least that is how it feels. But hear me carefully. The person who never fails is the person who never tries. And the person who never tries never discovers what they were truly capable of. I did not design you to live at the edges of your potential, always watching from the safe zones, always choosing the guaranteed path. I designed you to step out, to risk, to try, and yes, sometimes to fall, and then to get back up, and to try again with everything you learned from the falling. Some of the most important moments of your life are going to come directly out of experiences that felt like failure at the time. Not because failure is the goal, but because failure teaches you things that success simply cannot. It strips away the things you were holding on to that were not actually serving you. It shows you who is really in your corner. It builds a muscle in you that flat, comfortable success never could. So do not be afraid of it. Be willing to risk it, because the dream I have placed in your heart is worth the risk. Now, I want to talk to you about the relationships in your life, because I know that some of them are a source of genuine pain for you. People who were supposed to be safe, but were not. People who promised to stay and then did not. People who took from you without giving back. People who made you feel like love was always conditional, always performance-based, always just out of reach no matter how hard you tried. I know that kind of relational pain runs deep. Deeper, honestly, than most other kinds of pain. Because we were made for connection. We were designed to be known and to know others. And when that goes wrong, it wounds something at the very core of who you are. But I want you to know that the painful relationships of your past are not a preview of everything that is coming. They are not a prophecy about what you deserve. They are not proof that love never really works out for you. They are part of a story that is still being written, and the chapters ahead are different. I am bringing people into your life who carry the kind of love that does not run out. People who will be safe. People who will see your value clearly and treat you accordingly. People who will make you wonder why you ever accepted so little for so long. And in the meantime, I want to gently encourage you to release the bitterness that some of those painful relationships have left behind. Not because the people who hurt you deserve to be let off the hook. Not because what they did was acceptable. But because the bitterness does not live in them. It lives in you, and it is costing you energy that belongs to your future, not your past. Releasing it is not about them. It is about you. It is about freeing yourself from a weight that was never yours to carry in the first place. Let it go. Hand it to me. I can hold it. And I will deal with it in ways that are far beyond what your own anger ever could. I want to speak for a moment about your purpose. Because I know there are times when you genuinely wonder what you are here for. Times when the days feel repetitive and gray, and you cannot quite remember what the point of all of it is. Times when you watch other people walking in what seems like clear direction, while you feel like you are fumbling around in the dark, looking for a light switch. I see those moments. I know how disorienting they feel. But I want you to hear this clearly. You have a purpose. It is not vague. It is not generic. It is not the same as everyone else's. It is specific to you, shaped around the exact combination of experiences, gifts, personality, and passion that exists only in you. There is no one else on this earth who can do what you were put here to do in exactly the way you can do it. And that is not flattery. That is simply true. The reason your purpose has not always been fully clear is not because it does not exist. It is because purpose unfolds. It is revealed in layers over time. It grows with you as you grow. It deepens as you deepen. And the very things you have walked through, the painful ones, the confusing ones, the ones you would never have chosen if you had the option, those are actually part of what has been preparing you for it. Every scar is a qualification. Every season of struggle is a credential. Every moment you had to find strength you did not know you had is evidence that you are being prepared for something that requires strength. You are not behind schedule. I want to say that again because I know you need to hear it. You are not behind. The comparison that you sometimes do, the one where you look at people your age or younger, who seem to have it all together, who have the career and the relationships, and the clarity that you are still looking for. That comparison is stealing peace that belongs to you. Other people's timelines are not your timelines. Other people's paths are not your path. What I am building in your life cannot be compared to what I am building in anyone else's life, because no two blueprints are the same. You are exactly where you need to be for what comes next, and what comes next is good. I want to say that with as much weight and warmth as these words can carry. What comes next in your story is good, not perfect, because life is not perfect, and I have never promised you perfect, but good, rich with meaning, filled with moments of genuine joy, marked by peace that does not depend on circumstances, characterized by a sense of belonging to something that is bigger than yourself. That is what is ahead. That is what is coming. And it is closer than your doubt has been telling you. If these words are landing in your heart right now, if you feel something stirring as you listen, I want to encourage you to do something with that stirring. Do not just let it pass as a nice feeling. Do something with it. Maybe that means pausing this video and having a real, honest conversation with me. Not a formal one, not a recited one. Just a genuine one, where you tell me exactly what is going on inside you. Where you say the things you have been afraid to say out loud. Where you admit the doubts and the fears and the exhaustion and the hope that you are almost embarrassed to still have. I can handle all of it. I want all of it. Bring every bit of it to me. Maybe it means making a decision today that you have been putting off. A decision to stop running. A decision to stop numbing. A decision to stop giving your best energy to things that do not actually matter while the things that truly matter sit neglected. A decision to say, I am done living at a fraction of what my life was meant to be. A decision to turn toward something real, something lasting, something alive. Maybe it means reaching out to someone in your life who you have been avoiding, or apologizing for something that has been sitting between you and another person like a stone wall. Maybe it means finally resting instead of pushing, finally asking for help instead of pretending you have it handled, finally letting someone see the real version of you instead of the performance. Whatever the next right step is for you, I know what it is even if you are still figuring it out. And I will show you if you ask me. Just ask. Just say, what do I do next? And then get quiet enough to hear the answer. Not the loud, anxious, overthinking noise in your head. The quiet, steady, clear voice underneath all of that. That is me. That is the voice you can trust. Because here is the thing about this moment right now. This is not an accident. The fact that this message found you today, the fact that these specific words reached you in this specific season, that is not random. I do not operate through coincidence. I operate through intention. And my intention in this moment is to reach the part of you that has been waiting to be reached. The part that is hungry for something real. The part that knows, somewhere underneath all the noise and the business, that there is more to your life than what you have been settling for. You were not made to settle. You were made to soar. And I know that word might sound grand, and maybe a little unrealistic depending on where you are standing right now. But I am not using it carelessly. I mean it. The life I designed for you is not a life of scraping by and making do and getting through. It is a life of genuine abundance. Not necessarily abundance in the way the world defines it, not necessarily about money or status or accumulation, though I am not withholding material provision from you either. I mean abundance of meaning, abundance of peace, abundance of love that is real and lasting, abundance of purpose that gets you out of bed in the morning, not because you have to, but because you want to. That is what I have in mind for you. And we are getting there. Step by step, season by season, layer by layer, we are getting there. I have not forgotten a single thing I promised you. Not one. Every word I have spoken over your life is still active. Every intention I have for you is still in motion. The delays did not cancel the promises. The detours did not erase the destination. The hard seasons did not change what I decided about you before you were even born. I decided that you were worth it. I decided that your life would carry meaning. I decided that your story would have redemption woven through it. I decided that the things meant to break you would ultimately become the things that reveal the strength in you. I decided all of that before you ever had the chance to earn it or lose it. And those decisions stand. They do not waver. They do not expire. So breathe. Right now, just breathe. Let your shoulders come down from where they have been sitting up near your ears. Let the tension in your chest soften just a little. You are not carrying this alone. You never have been, and you never will be. I am here. I am near. I am speaking. I am working. I am for you in a way that nothing and no one in this world can match. And all I am asking right now is that you receive that. Not perfectly. Not with all your doubts resolved. Not with everything figured out. Just receive it. Open your hands, open your heart, and let the truth of how deeply you are loved settle into the places that have been running on empty for too long. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is the knock at the door that I am asking you to answer. Not tomorrow. Not when life calms down. Not when you feel more ready. Now. Right now. In this exact version of your life. Messy and complicated and unfinished as it is. You are invited. You are welcome. You are wanted. Come as you are. Because what I have for you is already prepared. The table is set. The door is wide open. And I am standing at the threshold with everything you need, waiting for the one thing only you can give me. Your yes. Give me your yes today. Not a perfect yes. Not a confident yes. Just a willing yes. Just an honest yes. Just a yes that says, I do not have it all together, but I am turning toward you. I do not understand everything, but I trust you. I am tired and scared and hopeful and unsure, and I am choosing you anyway. That is enough. That has always been enough, and I will do the rest. My dear child, let me tell you something that I want you to carry with you long after this moment passes. The peace I am giving you is not the kind that depends on everything going right. It is not the kind that shows up only when life is calm and predictable and easy to navigate. The peace I am placing inside you is a different kind altogether. It is the kind that stays when things are hard. It is the kind that holds you steady when the ground beneath you shifts. It is the kind that other people will notice in you before you even say a single word, because it will show up in the way you carry yourself, in the steadiness of your eyes, in the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are not walking alone. That is what is being built in you right now. Not just better circumstances, though those are coming too, but something far more lasting than circumstances. Something internal. Something that cannot be taken from you when the season changes. A foundation that does not crack when the pressure mounts. A rootedness that keeps you standing even when everything around you is moving. You have been through seasons that could have destroyed your ability to trust. Seasons that could have hardened your heart and shut your spirit down completely. The fact that you are still here, still open, still willing to listen, still choosing to believe that something good is possible, that is not a small thing. That is actually remarkable. And I want you to know that I see it. I see the quiet courage it takes to keep your heart soft in a world that keeps handing you reasons to close it. I see the effort it takes to hope when hope has not always been rewarded quickly. I see you, and I am moved by what I see. Now let me tell you what is happening in this season of your life, because I want you to understand it clearly. I am not just changing your circumstances from the outside in. I am changing you from the inside out, and that kind of change is deeper, richer, and more permanent than any external shift could ever be. When circumstances change without the person changing, the same patterns tend to return eventually. New situation, same inner habits, same fears, same cycles. But when a person changes from the inside, when the mind shifts, when the heart heals, when the spirit grows stronger and clearer and more aligned, then everything that flows out of that person begins to change too. The relationships change. The decisions change. The opportunities that show up begin to look different. The way they are received changes. That is what I am doing in you. I am doing the deep work. The work that takes time and cannot be skipped. The work that happens in the quiet moments, in the ordinary days, in the seasons that do not look dramatic from the outside, but are actually the most significant ones on the inside. Every day that you chose to keep trusting me, even when you could not see what I was doing, something in you was being strengthened. Every day that you chose honesty over performance, something in you was being purified. Every day that you chose to get back up after being knocked down, something in you was being forged into something that difficulty simply cannot break. You are stronger than you were, wiser than you were, more capable of carrying what comes next than you have ever been before. And you may not fully feel that yet, but it is true. The preparation I have been doing in your life has not been wasted. It has been precise. Every experience was doing something specific. Every season was teaching something particular. And the person you are now, because of all of it, is exactly the person who is ready for what I am about to release into your life. So do not look back at the hard seasons with only regret. Look back at them with understanding. Look back and recognize that you came out. You are still here. You carried more than you thought you could, and you are still standing. That says something. That says a great deal. And the strength you developed in those seasons, you are going to need it. Not because more suffering is coming, but because what is coming is significant, and significant things require people who have been prepared to handle them. You are prepared. Maybe not perfectly, but genuinely, and that is enough. Now I want to speak to you about the relationships in your future, because I know this area of life carries a particular tenderness for you. Some of the deepest wounds you carry came through people who were supposed to love you well and did not. People who chose themselves at your expense. People who said one thing and did another. People who made you feel like love always came with conditions. Like belonging always required a certain level of performance. Like you had to earn your place in someone's life. Over and over again. Those experiences left marks. I know they did, and I am not pretending otherwise. But I want to tell you something important about what those experiences did not do. They did not tell the truth about your worth. They did not define your value. They did not determine what is possible for you in relationships going forward. What they revealed was the limitation of those particular people, not the limitation of what love can be. And there is a significant difference between those two things. The love I am bringing into your life going forward, the genuine connections, the relationships that are meant to walk with you into the next chapter, those will feel different. They will not feel like work in the exhausting way that the wrong relationships always do. They will not leave you constantly questioning where you stand or wondering if you are too much or not enough. The people I am drawing toward you are people whose capacity matches what I have placed in you. People who will not flinch at your depth. People who will not feel threatened by your strength. People who will not require you to shrink yourself in order for them to feel comfortable. These connections will come with an ease that might actually surprise you at first, because you have been so used to relationships requiring enormous effort. Just to survive that genuine ease might feel unfamiliar, might even feel suspicious. You might find yourself waiting for the catch, waiting for the moment when it turns difficult in the familiar old way. But I want to prepare you for that moment so that when it comes, you do not sabotage what is good out of fear that it cannot last. It can last. What I build lasts. Trust the ease. Trust the peace. Trust the feeling of being genuinely met by another person without having to fight for it. And the ones who drift away in this season, the people who seem to quietly fade out of your life, do not chase them. Do not spend your energy trying to hold on to connections that I am releasing. Not every person is meant to go where you are going. Not every relationship was designed to last every chapter. Some people were for a season, for a specific stretch of your journey. And the fact that the season has ended does not mean the relationship failed. It means it fulfilled its purpose. Release them with gratitude for what they gave you in the time they were present, and trust that the space they leave is being filled with something more aligned with who you are becoming. I also want to speak to the way you see yourself, because I have watched you look at yourself through lenses that do not belong to you. The lens of your harshest critic, the lens of your most painful failure, the lens of the person who told you that you were too much or not enough, or simply not quite right. Those lenses were given to you by people who did not have accurate vision, and you have been looking at yourself through borrowed distortion for far too long. Let me give you a different picture. Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. Not from the outside looking in the way the world does, but from the inside out, the way only I can. I see the gifts I placed in you before you were born, the particular way your mind works, the way you notice things that others miss, the way you feel things at a depth that most people never reach. I placed all of that in you intentionally. None of it was an accident. None of it was a mistake. The very things you have sometimes wished you could change about yourself, the sensitivity, the intensity, the way you care perhaps more than feels comfortable, those are not flaws. They are features. They are the tools I gave you for the specific work I have in mind for your life. Your compassion is not weakness. It is precision. I gave you the ability to feel what others feel, because you are going to be placed in rooms and conversations and situations where that ability is exactly what is needed. Your empathy is not a burden. It is a bridge between where people are and where they need to be, between the pain someone is carrying alone and the relief of knowing that someone else truly understands. You are going to be that bridge for people over and over again, and the depth you carry, the depth that sometimes feels like it makes life harder for you, because you cannot just skim the surface the way others seem to. That depth is what makes you capable of reaching people who have given up on being reached. So I am asking you, gently but firmly, to stop apologizing for who you are. Stop trying to compress yourself into a shape that makes others more comfortable. Stop editing the parts of you that feel too big or too sensitive or too real. I did not make you to fit neatly into the expectations of people who were not willing to expand. I made you to be fully yourself. And the world needs the fully yourself version of you, not the carefully managed, strategically toned down version that you have sometimes offered in its place. This is also a season where I am shifting your relationship with approval, and this might be one of the more significant internal shifts of everything I am doing in you right now, because the need for approval has been quietly running in the background of your life for a long time. shaping your choices, influencing your words, determining where you invest your energy. And while the desire to be liked and accepted is entirely human and nothing to be ashamed of, the need for approval, the kind where your sense of value rises and falls based on what others think of you, that is a cage. And I am unlocking it. Here is the truth that will set you free from that cage. My opinion of you is the only one that carries eternal weight, and my opinion of you is not fluctuating based on your performance. It is not shifting based on how impressive or unimpressive your life looks to the people around you. It is not based on your productivity or your likability or your social standing. It is rooted in something far more permanent than any of those things. It is rooted in the fact that I made you, I know you completely, and I love what I made. That is settled. That is done. That does not require your agreement to be true. When you begin to live from that place, when the deep place inside you where your sense of worth lives is anchored not in what others think, but in what I have declared, the freedom that follows is extraordinary. You stop making decisions out of fear of judgment. You stop holding back the parts of yourself that might not be universally approved of. You stop performing and start actually living. You stop shrinking and start taking up exactly the amount of space you were created to occupy. That is what is coming. That is the shift that is already beginning inside you. If you are finding these words speaking to something real in your heart right now, I want to pause and invite you to subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. These messages are not coincidences. They are invitations. And I want you to keep receiving them. Click subscribe and turn on notifications so that each new message finds you when you need it most. Someone in your life might need to hear this too, so share it with them. Now let us keep going, because there is more I need you to hear. Let me talk to you about the dreams that you have quietly set aside, the ones that live in the back rooms of your heart, the ones you visit sometimes when you are alone, the ones you allow yourself to imagine for just a moment before the practical voice in your head reminds you of all the reasons they are probably not realistic. I know about those dreams. I placed them there, and I want to tell you something about them that changes everything. And I treasure that. I treasure it more than you know. Now let me speak to the fear that lives just beneath the surface of your life. Because it is there. You are good at hiding it. You have learned how to function around it, how to dress it up as practicality, how to make it sound like wisdom. But fear is fear, and I know it when I see it, and I see it in you. Fear of being disappointed again. Fear of hoping for something and watching it fall apart. Fear of letting someone in and being hurt. Fear of stepping out toward the dream and failing publicly. Fear that the good things you see happening in other people's lives are simply not available for someone like you. I want to speak directly to every one of those fears today. Starting with this, you will not be permanently broken by anything that comes. I am not promising you a life without difficulty. I am not telling you that nothing will ever be hard again. What I am telling you is that nothing you face will be strong enough to destroy you. Not when you are walking with me. Not when the hand that holds you is mine. The fire cannot consume what I have placed my mark on. The flood cannot drown what I have decided to keep afloat. You are going to make it through. Not just survive it, but actually come through it. Change, yes. Stretched, yes. But alive and standing and more whole than you were before. Fear of disappointment. I hear it. I know what it is like to want something so badly and then watch it unravel. I know how that teaches a heart to protect itself by lowering its expectations. But I want to ask you something. What if the thing that disappointed you was never the thing I had in mind for you in the first place? What if the very disappointment you are still recovering from was actually me clearing the way? What if the plan you were so attached to was blocking your view of something better? Disappointment is painful. Absolutely. But it is not the end. It is a clearing, and something is being planted in the clearing right now. Fear of hoping. This one runs deep in you. I know it does, because hope requires vulnerability. Hope says, I believe something good is possible. And when you have been hurt before, when hope led you to a place that then fell through, the natural response is to protect yourself by not hoping too much, to hedge your bets, to want things quietly so that if they do not come, the loss feels smaller. I understand the logic, but I need to tell you that hope is not a liability. Hope is a lifeline. It is not naive to believe that good things are coming. It is actually a form of trust, and trust is exactly what I am asking for from you today. Fear of being seen and then rejected. This one keeps so many people from living fully. The fear that if someone truly knew you, truly saw all of you, they would decide you were not worth staying for. And because some people in your past did exactly that, the fear has evidence now. It has case files. It pulls out the memories and says, see, this is what happens when you let people in. Stay guarded. Stay safe. But the people who left you were not showing you the truth about your worth. They were showing you the limits of their own capacity. The right people, the ones I am bringing into your life, they will not run from what they find in you. They will stay, and they will be glad they did. Fear of failure, of stepping out towards something that matters to you and watching it not work out in front of people who are watching. This fear has kept more people from their purpose than almost anything else I can think of. Because failure is uncomfortable, and public failure is humiliating, or at least that is how it feels. But hear me carefully. The person who never fails is the person who never tries, and the person who never tries never discovers what they were truly capable of. I did not design you to live at the edges of your potential, always watching from the safe zones, always choosing the guaranteed path. I designed you to step out, to risk, to try, and yes, sometimes to fall, and then to get back up, and to try again with everything you learned from the falling. The anxiety you feel about the people you love will begin to soften in this season, not because you will love them less, but because your trust in my involvement in their lives will grow. As you experience more of my faithfulness in your own story, it will become easier to believe that the same faithfulness extends to the people you care about, and that belief will release you from a weight you were never meant to permanently carry. I also want to speak to your relationship with time and with the pace of life, because I know you sometimes feel like you are either moving too fast and cannot slow down, or you are standing still when you feel like you should be moving. The frantic urgency that the world operates in, the constant pressure to be more productive, to optimize every moment, to always be achieving or working towards something, that rhythm is not mine. It is not the rhythm I designed you to live at, and it is exhausting you. I am inviting you into a different rhythm, a rhythm that includes genuine rest without guilt, a rhythm that makes space for stillness, for quiet, for the kind of unhurried moments where you can actually hear yourself think and feel and breathe, a rhythm where the pace of your life is sustainable rather than relentless, where you are present in your moments rather than always rushing through them toward the next thing, where you can sit with someone you love and give them your actual undivided attention rather than being physically present while mentally somewhere else entirely. Rest is not laziness. Rest is not falling behind. Rest is actually one of the most productive things you can do, because it restores what the constant doing depletes. It gives your mind the space to process what your heart needs to integrate. It reconnects you to the deeper things that get drowned out when life never slows down. And in the quiet that rest creates, I can speak to you more clearly than I can when you are in constant motion. So I am asking you to practice the rhythm of rest, not just sleeping when you are so exhausted you cannot keep your eyes open, but genuinely choosing to stop sometimes, choosing to be still, choosing to let a day or an hour, or even just a few minutes be free of productivity and agenda, choosing to sit in the quiet with me and let that be enough, because it is enough. Your worth is not tied to your output. Your value does not increase when you are busy and decrease when you are resting. You are equally precious in stillness as you are in action. This is also a season where your vision for your own life is going to expand. And by vision, I do not mean plans or goals or a 5-year roadmap. I mean the inner picture you carry of what your life can actually become, what you actually believe is possible for you. Because the ceiling of what a person's life becomes is often set internally before it is ever reached externally. If you cannot picture it, if you genuinely cannot imagine it as a real possibility for your actual life, it is much harder to walk toward it. The internal picture that I am asking you to let expand is not wishful thinking. It is not arrogance or entitlement. It is simply a willingness to believe that what I have spoken over your life, the good things, the purposeful things, the abundant things, are genuinely meant for you, not for people who are more deserving, not for people who have it more together, but for you, with your history and your scars and your doubts, and your stubborn hoping. For you, let your imagination stretch a little. Let yourself spend a few honest minutes thinking about what your life could look like if things began to shift. If the area of your life that has been most stuck began to move. If the relationship you have been longing for began to take shape. If the purpose that has been stirring in you began to find expression. If the financial pressure began to ease. If the health issue began to turn. If the weight you have been carrying began to lift. Let yourself imagine it, not obsessively, not with anxiety, but with a quiet, open expectancy. Because what you are imagining is not impossible. It is not out of reach. It is actually closer than it has ever been. I want to close this part of our conversation by speaking to the place inside you that still wonders if you are truly loved. Not loved in a general, theological, abstract way, but personally, specifically, with full knowledge of who you actually are. I know that place exists in you. I know there are moments when everything else can be believed, and yet this one question lingers. Does the one who made me, truly know me and truly love what they know? Yes. The answer is yes. I know every room in your heart, the ones you decorate and invite people into, and the ones you keep locked, because you are not sure what would happen if anyone saw what is inside them. I know the complicated ones, the ones where fear and hope live side by side, the ones where old grief still sits quietly in the corner, the ones where the version of you that got hurt a long time ago still waits cautiously before trusting anyone. I know all of it, and I love all of it, not in spite of the complicated parts, not with a footnote that says except for the parts that need more work. Just fully, just completely, just exactly as you are, right now, in this moment, with everything unresolved and everything still healing and everything still growing. You are loved, thoroughly, permanently, and nothing you do or fail to do, nothing you figure out or fail to figure out, nothing you achieve or fall short of will ever change that. It is already decided. It was decided before you were born, and it will be as true at the end of your life as it is in this very moment. Receive that today. Not just in your mind, but in the part of you that has been waiting a long time to believe it. Let it reach down past the defense mechanisms and the self-protection and the armor you have built up over the years, and let it land somewhere real. You are loved. You are known. You are not alone. And everything I am doing in your life flows from that love. So as you move forward from this moment, I want you to carry something specific with you. I want you to carry the understanding that you are not fighting for a life that might be good. You are walking into a life that has already been prepared for you. The table is already set. The blessings are already sent. The connections are already moving toward you. The purpose is already written. Your part is not to force any of it. Your part is simply to keep walking, keep trusting, keep showing up, keep your hands open and your heart soft, and your eyes watching for the goodness that is already on its way, because it is on its way, every single piece of it. And I am with you every single step between here and there, not watching from a distance, not checking in occasionally, with you, in you, around you, every breath, every step, every moment. You are not finished. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are on your way. And the one who knows the end from the beginning is walking beside you right now, saying with full confidence, keep going. What is ahead is worth it. You are worth it. And we are going to get there together. My dear child, before this moment ends, I need you to hear one final thing, and I need you to hear it all the way down to the deepest part of who you are. This was not just a video. This was a conversation that was arranged specifically for you in this exact season, at this exact moment in your life. The fact that you stayed until the very end tells me something about you. It tells me that the part of you that still believes, the part that still hopes, the part that still reaches for something real and lasting and true, that part is still alive. And that part is exactly what I have been speaking to this entire time. Do not walk away from this moment and let it fade into the background noise of your day. Let it change something. Let it shift something. Let it land somewhere permanent inside you. The life I have prepared for you is not a reward waiting at some distant finish line. It is already unfolding, right now. In the ordinary hours of your ordinary days, something extraordinary is being quietly assembled on your behalf. The doors are moving. The connections are forming. The breakthrough you almost stopped believing in is closer than it has ever been. And I will be with you every single step of the way, not as a distant hope, but as a present living, breathing reality that holds you when you are weak, guides you when you are lost, and celebrates with you when what was promised finally arrives. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And from this day forward, walk like someone who knows that. Walk like someone who is loved completely, guided faithfully, and destined for something genuinely good. Because you are. You always have been. And that, my dear child, will never change.